Let's play 2 at Yersack Field in Piscataway, New Jersey. Game 1 of our doubleheader today. South Carolina visiting Rutgers in men's soccer on RVision, presented by AT&T. Welcome to Bush Campus, everyone. Danny Breslauer, Kyle Franco here with you. Back on Friday night, Kyle, Rutgers men played the back end of a doubleheader, defeating Princeton 3-2, and they jumped out quickly in the first half.
Yeah, well, it was after a slow 10-minute start when Princeton actually took the lead, but after that, Rutgers was great in the first half, and Maël Corbeau's outstanding, really almost single-handedly carried them through that first half with 2 great goals. And then, of course, Todd Webb getting the one in the second half to make it 3. Probably a little disappointed to concede a late penalty to Princeton. Made that a little more interesting than it had to be. But bottom line, you got the 3 points on Friday night. You got a chance to come back out here on Sunday and do it again against the South Carolina team that's been up and down early in the season. 2-3
for South Carolina. And there's the pod of their head coaching staff, led by the 36th-year head coach, Mark Burson, one of 3 coaches all time to have 450 victories while an NCAA Division I head coach. Today, he'll go with Marco Velez, the freshman goalie, filling in for the injured Robert Beebe, along with Ryan Arambula, Ive Burnett, Mohamedou Kaba, Asa Christ, Curtis Turner, Jeffrey Torta, Jason Chapman, Braden Troyer, J.P. Rafferty, and Steven Anderson. There's Rutgers starting keeper, the freshman David Greshik. He'll be with Ross Tetro, Mitchell Tainter, Maël Corbeau, Nathan Bruccoleri, Kanaeze, Eric Saw, Drew Morgan, Spencer Hambleton, and J.P. Correa. Your head ref today is Matt Mercier. Kyle, as Rutgers goes left to right in the home whites with the stripes, and South Carolina right to left in the road blacks. What are your keys to today's game?
Well, today's a bring-your-own-energy kind of day. We've talked about it in the past when you go Friday, Sunday like this, particularly coming off the late game Friday night. You come out here, you get the early one Sunday afternoon. You got to create your own energy because the atmosphere is not the same. It's kind of feels like a lazy day. It's easy to get sucked into that. So you get out and you got to do it yourself. One way to do that for me is to get up the field, pressure South Carolina. Don't let them work it through the midfield easily. Make it difficult on them to get out of their own half.
If you're spending some of your Sunday with us, we appreciate that, and we hope you'll be in for the long haul. Game 2 today will be Rutgers and Princeton in women's soccer. That will kick off at around 2:30, approximately 20 to 30 minutes after the conclusion of Game 1 here today between Rutgers and South Carolina. Frankly, Kyle, in our conversation pregame with Dan Donegan, you get the sense that while he's upset with the way that they're holding on to leads or at least pushing the tempo when they're ahead, this is a side that could be 5-0 based on their results.
It really could when you look at it. In the end, that's kind of revisionist history a little bit. It is what it is. You conceded some late goals. You got to deal with it. But they came out against Princeton and they held on for what I thought was a valuable 3 points in a home win, considering that they came into that game 1-2-1. And that's the kind of game you've got to win at home if you expect to be an NCAA tournament team. And I think we have a similar situation today. You've got a South Carolina team in here on the back end of an East Coast trip, or at least a trip up north. They face St. John's on Friday night. Again, at home, it's a game Rutgers feels like it should win.
Both teams with a red card suspension returning to the lineup today. J.P. Rafferty is front-running up top because he slides back up there following the return of Braden Troyer, who received a red card against Coastal Carolina and missed a 1-0 loss to St. John's on Friday night. That a foul in the middle of the pitch, J.P. Correa taken down. And on the Rutgers end, Drew Morgan picked up his 3rd yellow card of the year, which led to a red. That coming against Akron in the second half, and he missed Rutgers' win Friday night.
Yeah, and it's good to have him back, too. Mitchell Tainter stepped back in the center back in Morgan's place on Friday. Tainter keeps his place tonight. Interesting, Joe Setchell starts on the bench. Dan Donegan says, with the Friday to Sunday and the games coming so close, and remember, Setchell missed last year with the hip injury. It's good to get him a little bit of rest. And, of course, Tainter can play in that center back spot. He did it all year last season.
Good distance here from Maël Corbeau to take a look. A brace on Friday night, a pair of goals for him. Here's a well-struck shot, but it's wide of goal. Corbeau has 4 tallies on the year now. 2 games with a pair of goals in 2 different ones. There's the Rutgers students coming out to support the Scarlet Knights today. Friday, Sunday, of course, it's tougher for the students on an NFL Sunday to get themselves organized and out to the pitch, so good to see some of the Riot squad making their way to Bush campus today. South Carolina, again, in the Conference USA in soccer. You'll know them as a SEC program in many other sports, but the SEC does not play men's soccer. So any team that does have a soccer program has to find a home. Rafferty receives in the box, lets it roll through, and Greshik receives it on a few hops as the overlapping run was made by Curtis Turner. Jeffrey Torta was there as well, as we have played 3.5 minutes. No score between Rutgers and South Carolina.
Chance for South Carolina. Wasn't Torta just slipped inside his marker. Got a first-time shot away. Didn't catch it clean, though, and it's right at Greshik. Comfortable for that Rutgers keeper in the end.
Rutgers picked 5th in the preseason American Athletic Conference poll. With the 2-2-1 start, some points have been left on the table, but certainly not in a bad spot.
Well, you said points left on the table. 8 drop points from winning positions, and that's what will be a concern.
Corbeau's for Eze. He's offside. The flag on the near side is up. But Kene Eze looking spry after leaving Friday night's game with a little bit of an injury, but returning later on. The senior from Sayreville, who was the brightest player through the first 4 games of the year. He has 3 tallies for Rutgers.
Yeah, and obviously Eze such an important part of what Dan Donegan wants to do, playing up top as a central forward, wants him to run in behind. They'll have to keep an eye on his health a little bit. He limped off in the first half of that game against Princeton. Didn't come back, didn't look too sharp in the second half, but he's obviously shook it off. He's in there today.
South Carolina a year ago, 5-11-2, 2-5-1 in Conference USA. They were outscored 33-20 last year, and they lost their leading point getter from that team. His name's Bradley Baladez, and that was after 3 seasons. He's now on loan in the NASL from FC Dallas. So certainly some talent lost there in the form of Baladez. There have been a lot of goals in South Carolina games this year. Outside of the Friday night loss of 1-0 to St. John's, a 5-2 win over High Point, a 3-1 loss to Coastal Carolina, a 2-1 loss to Clemson. When they do get going, the offense can be there.
Sure, and J.P. Rafferty, that's the guy to keep an eye on, the 23 for South Carolina. He's big, and he's got a lot of pace, so he's going to look to get in behind. He could cause some problems for that Rutgers defense.
Chested down near side by Ive Burnett. Foul on Burnett, shielding off Spracklin on the near side. There's the number 4, the freshman defender from Brandon, Mississippi. He's out of the Real Salt Lake Academy. Just 5'4", but when you're in that academy at any MLS level academy, you know that, like an Eric Saw at the Red Bull Academy, you've done some solid stuff at the high school ranks. Hambleton can't win the 50-50. Hops out to Ryan Arambula, the sophomore midi from Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Much of the roster for the Gamecocks from the state. Spracklin. Here is Sa. He'll switch fields. Lots of room for Ross Tetro, the left back who likes to probe forward. He'll use the wing. Good cross, but it sails a little bit on him and out for a goal kick. Initially looked like he had the right angle to it, but Velez was not troubled.
It's a good idea from Rutgers, though. Sa coming across, cutting inside from his right-hand side, picks his head up, finds that space for Ross Tetro out wide left. You got to like that. Just Tetro needs a better delivery when he gets into those kind of positions.
St. John's up to number 12 in the country now as they knock off South Carolina on Friday night.
Seems to be the norm, isn't it? Teams come east, or if South Carolina's case, they make the trip to the northeast, play St. John's and Rutgers. Seems like we've seen that a lot this year.
Yeah, they seem to be the travel partners this year, picking up that Friday-Sunday combination. Makes it a bit easier on some of these sides to coordinate travel plans. Room to work for Torta. Rafferty out wide. There is Rafferty. Greshik goes to get it. He'll post up quite a bit, will J.P. Rafferty, the 6'1", 175-pounder out of Raleigh, North Carolina. But David Greshik claims it, and Kyle, on Friday night, he gave up an early yellow card that led to a Princeton penalty kick, but beyond that, a solid day, 5 more saves for the freshman, and just a brilliant distribution on the 3rd goal to Todd Webb.
Yeah, it really was on the Webb goal. Came out to the top of his 18, and a 50, 60-yard punt downfield. He just picks out Webb in stride. Todd didn't even have to bring it down, just one touch. and then he's able to put it in the back of the net. But as you said, it was good to see Greshik bounce back. You know, it was really the first time we saw him make a mistake this year when he hesitated coming off his line and gave away the penalty.
Another good build-up through Tetro as Correa and he played a 1-2. Mitchell Tainter will go grab that. Now Correa. Lots of Rutgers possession early, but hasn't led to anything in the form of a shot. Referee will play advantage for Rafferty. Here goes Asa Christ, the junior from South Carolina. He's got 2-on-3, no numbers. Good recovery by Rutgers, specifically Drew Morgan to get behind the ball. Jump ball for Greshik. It's brought down. Kaba's in front, and it's cleared off the line by Morgan. Oh, that's dangerous. Greshik went to punch and was shielded just enough by Rafferty. It's a corner.
You can see Rafferty throwing his big body in there. It's a fair challenge, 50-50. Good counterattack by South Carolina. Greshik came for it, didn't claim it. And then Drew Morgan's got to scramble it away. Last-ditch defending, but good work by Morgan to pick up his goalkeeper.
Short corner, 10th minute. Torta has his shot blocked by Correa. If Eze gets there, it's a 2-on-2 counter. Kane does get there. The yellow-cleated senior. To the box is Eze. He's touched from behind, and a Rutgers corner kick. How about that? 20 seconds apart, a corner on each side.
Yeah, and then stuff there. Ball turns over by South Carolina. Eze pounces out here on the right-hand side, and a good, strong run by Kene that time. Drives it to defender, wins his team a corner.
There's the fourth-year head coach, Dan Donegan. Comes into today 23, 27, and 7 during his time at Rutgers. Mike Romeo, the goalkeeper's coach, out on the touchline with him. And JP Correa from these near side corners will take it with his left foot, his dominant foot. Swinging near post. It was dangerous. Corbos could not get there. And that's out for a throw off the head of Brookeleri. Played 10 minutes. No score between Rutgers and South Carolina. Each side has had a chance.
I think the energy's been good from both sides today. It's always a concern as we hit off on the opening on Sunday afternoons. You kind of got to create that yourself, and I think both sides have done that. It's been a pretty good opening 10 minutes.
Rutgers in the midst of a 5-game homestand. This is game number 4. They'll finish it up as part of yet another doubleheader on Friday night. They'll be the back end of that one. That'll be the women against Villanova at 5:30 on Friday, and then the men take on former Conference USA power and now American Athletic Conference opponent SMU in their conference opener.
Yeah, you need a chart just to keep it all straight these days with all the conference realignment. South Carolina's in the Conference USA and SMU's in the American Athletic Conference.
Correa. Redshirt junior from Montville. Only 4 shots on the campaign, and Rutgers would love to see a bit of aggressiveness from him. Not to the point of forcing it, but just to at least move forward with a bit of pace. We know his capabilities from his freshman year. 6 goals, 5 assists. Was outstanding.
And he's picked it up, I think, the last 2 games against Akron and then Friday night against Princeton. He had some moments on Friday night, just didn't pull the trigger. I mean, I remember one move, great dribbling move to get inside the box, but it's just like he tried to walk it all the way in, didn't pull the trigger.
Corbos tripped over the ball there. Hambleton wins the 50-50. Back to Mael Corbos. The shiftiness to get free. Room to shoot. It's deflected in! Corbos, everything he touches turns to gold. It's 1-0 Rutgers.
And it really does. It's unlucky for South Carolina, but give Corbos credit to create the space and then get it onto his right foot. Knocks it in, and I think he comes off. It's either Kaba or the number 9, Torta. It caught one of those 2 players. It's unlucky for the goalkeeper, Velez, because he's caught wrong-footed. Corbos just lets it fly, and it's the deflection that takes it in, but it'll be Mael Corbos' goal.
5 goals in 6 games for Mael Corbos. Second team All-American preseason. That by College Sports Madness. Preseason All-Conference. Doubling his output nearly of goals from last year. 3 goals, 7 assists a year ago. Now already 5 goals here in game number 6.
It's only going to get better for him. And, you know, you can't score if you don't shoot. So, 22 yards from goal there, Corbos. Sees the space on his right foot. Why not have a crack? yeah, sure, he gets a little fortunate, and it's Toter who's unlucky in the end for South Carolina. It comes off him and catches his goalkeeper wrong-footed. But, you know, credit to Corbeau's because he's the one who worked that ball on his right foot and created the space.
13th minute goal for Corbeau sends Rutgers ahead 1-0.
So
and frankly,
shifty,
Kyle, yeah, shifty, obviously, that's the word that we used with Dan Donegan pregame, but a lot of credit to Hamilton. That's a run out for South Carolina if he doesn't make that stop to get it back to Corbeau's.
Sure, and that's Spencer Hamilton's job is to sit in front of the Rutgers back four when the ball does turn over. He's got to be the guy that wins it back for the Scarlet Knights and breaks up counterattacks, and right there, that's what he does.
Brookeleri knocked down by Kaba. Both Kaba and Burnett have had a tough start to this game. Kaba nearly putting one home early before Morgan turned it away. Now here, another dangerous spot for a Corbeau's free kick. He can put it pretty much anywhere inside this box. Rutgers has a bit of a height advantage up top. Both Eze and Correa. And now Tainter will come from the back line. We're in the 14th minute. Corbeau's well-placed far post, but only Velez was there. And you're certainly right that an unjust goal on Velez's sheet. He's on the correct foot to play that if it's at the angle that it was taken, but once it's deflected, the former product of the IMG Academy, the famous training ground in Bradenton, Florida, has no shot at that.
Yeah, sure. It's always difficult, too, when your first touch is to pick the ball out of your back of the net, particularly under those circumstances, because you're right. He's got that covered if it's not deflected. And unfortunately, once it does take the little nick off his defender, he's caught wrong-footed, and there's really not a whole lot he can do.
There is Velez, freshman from Sarasota, Florida. So it wasn't too much of a trip to get to IMG Academy, as so many players come from around the country. But Mael Corbeau is the former state champ at Pingree, part of the U17 U.S. men's national team camp just 4 years ago as we played a quarter hour. 15 minutes in, it's 1-0 Rutgers on a 13th minute goal by the aforementioned Mael Corbeau. Danny Breslauer, Kyle Franco here with you at your Sack Field. Hope you enjoyed tuning in Friday night to the doubleheader. Rutgers women taking out Bryant 4-0 before Rutgers getting a 3-2 win over Princeton. We'll see the Rutgers women at 2:30 today against the Tigers of Princeton. Here's Correa. Wide for the left back Tetro, who makes yet another run forward. Correa with room to operate. Through ball. Eze's on. Lefty shot is blocked. Eze just poaching.
It was a good little slip pass in from Correa to pick out Kane. Credit Braden Troyer, who gets back for South Carolina, gets the block in. It's good for the Gamecocks to have a player like Troyer back, a second-team All-CUSA player last year. And, of course, he had to sit out Friday night against St. John's. He was sent off a red card in the 12th minute against Coastal Carolina in that loss that South Carolina had. They had to play a man down then for the better part of that game.
Preseason All-Conference USA is the center back Braden Troyer, officially a midfielder on the roster, but being used at the center back role this year. He's their best player. They need him in defense. 3 goals last year for second on the team. Gives you an idea of his involvement offensively last year, as Eze is knocked down. Troyer is homegrown from Columbia, South Carolina. Eze having the cleat come undone just a bit. And Corbeau seems to be getting free kicks from further and further out, and he will not have one here. He'll get it into the run of play. Corbeau is through for Eze into the box. Nifty dribbling from Kane. Still Eze on for Saw as it's deflected down for Velez. That should be a foul on Eric Saw, and it certainly is.
Now, Rutgers started really brightly in this first half. Again, Kene Eze inside the box, shows some nifty footwork, was looking to pull the trigger early, could never get a clear angle at goal, and in the end, really just toe pokes it at the goal. Velez able to make the save, and then Saw comes in, trying to follow it up, doing the right thing, bumps the goalkeeper.
And we've rightfully given Rutgers the majority of the airtime here through the first 18 minutes because they have outclassed South Carolina in the early going, holding the 1-0 advantage. And with Rutgers at 2-2-1 and really much better than their record, they deserve the props that we've given them so far, but still worth mentioning. South Carolina's program, if you're not familiar with them, is really star-studded across the board when it comes to developing national team talent. For Mark Burson, the 1971 grad of Summit High School in New Jersey, went on to star at UNC. Here's Eric Sa curving it in. Corner kick, Rutgers.
There's a decent ball in by Eric Sa, too. Just got to ask Kene Eze to attack that near post. It was on. Got to gamble if you're Kene there.
That was Braden Troyer again. You got to look at the South Carolina bench and Burson in the pod. Coach the likes of Josh Wolf, Clint Mathis, who any U.S. men's national team fan will know all about. Brad Guzan, who is the backup to North Brunswick's own Tim Howard in net for the U.S. team currently. Correa corner near side. Well struck, near post. Eze tried to flick it on. Things are on here on a counter for South Carolina. Aaron Beulah. Tons of room for Christ. Recovery by Rutgers, though. 8 behind the ball before South Carolina can get 4 forward. Four shots to 1 in favor of Rutgers. A pair of corners for Rutgers, just 1 for the Gamecocks. Sent out wide by Anderson. Anderson re-receives, cutting in front is Morgan.
That's a vital interception by Drew Morgan, too. It's good work by South Carolina in the build-up. Anderson out wide for Rafferty, and then Anderson makes the run back to the near post. He attacks it. Drew Morgan, nice job recognizing what the run was from the South Carolina player. Steps in with a vital interception.
Good to have the sophomore back from Atlanta, Georgia, but he does have to watch out. Remember, over the course of a season, 5 yellow cards on accumulation sends you out for a contest. He already has 3. Spracklin. "20 minutes in, it's a 1-0 Rutgers lead on a 13th minute goal by Mael Corboz, the 5th of his season and 3rd in 2 games. It's a great interception there from Aaron Beulah to poke in and take away from Corboz. Not many can do that. Rafferty chasing down Morgan. Greshik will deal with this. There's actually a history in this series. Would you believe that? I looked at this before the season and said, when did Rutgers ever play South Carolina in men's soccer? You wouldn't think, right? But 3-3-1 all time. 7 meetings. Last one was 11 years ago, 2002, a 1-0 South Carolina overtime win. Tainter. Tough bouncing ball for Greshik. That first touch was great. That's exactly where it needed to be. It was the only place it could be. The second left some to be desired. And a lot of room now to work for South Carolina through Christ. Cut in front was Brookeleri. Scarlet Knights broke through after 13 minutes. It took St. John's 60 minutes to do so on Friday night, and that was without Troyer on the pitch. Whether fortunate or not, it is still a lead for Rutgers. Eze, 3-on-2 for Rutgers, and he was a bit overzealous to flick that ahead. Had some room to turn.
Yeah, I thought Kene had some room there to get his head up and drive into the open space. Did well to turn his man originally.
Christ. Near side for Torta. Aaron Beulah. Rutgers' back line, as they have been really all year in first halves, seems so compact. And it's almost like a lead further brings them into the box, sitting back. And that's not what they want to do, says Dan Donegan pregame. Let's see if they try to open it up now with a lead, which they've had so many times this year.
Sure, you'd always like to add on to it. Part of the problem this year is 8 drop points from winning positions. If you look at the Duke game, the Elon game, and then the Akron game, you have to be able to protect leads late in games. Sometimes I think it's easy to say, yeah, we just got to keep going forward and get another one. But sometimes the game dictates how you play. You know, the opponent starts throwing more players forward. In the case, I think, of those early games, Rutgers got fatigued a little bit in the heat down south, and that played a factor as well to them sitting back.
2 subs waiting for USC. Eli Dent, Hunter Wire will come on. That'll be at the next stoppage. Kyle, how many times do you see a left back offside? That is what we just had for Rutgers. Ross Tetro making that run forward, didn't receive the pass early enough until Tainter saw him and he was in offside position. That's incredible. Shows you how aggressive Ross Tetro is.
That's what you want, though. You want your left back to get forward.
He had a goal in the 4-1 win over Penn State. Eze behind the defense. First touch is loose, and that's why Velez gets there.
That's a great ball by Mael Corbose with the vision to pick out Eze on this right-hand side. Kene times his run perfectly, but you're right, first touch from Eze, a little bit heavy. That allowed Velez to get off his line and close down the angle and make a save. You know, if that is a better first touch from Eze there, I think he scores. Just had to stretch for it once that first touch left him overextended, and then Velez, well done to get off his line and make himself big.
Subs for the Gamecocks are Dent, the freshman forward from Charleston, South Carolina, and Wire, the number 19 from Greenville, South Carolina. But Eze nearly doubling Rutgers' advantage. We played 25 minutes. It is 1-0 Rutgers on a goal from Mael Corbose in the 13th minute. Forced Mark Burson into his bench, I'd imagine earlier than he would have liked. Sa wins the 50-50. Corbose knows where to go with the first touch every time, and that's just a little long for Eze. I think that's the most impressive thing. That first touch just to get loose.
And he's always one step ahead. He knows where that ball wants to go. So he receives it, and then first touch to get it either right foot, left foot into a position to deliver the pass. That's what's impressive about him, is that the way he just shifts the ball from foot to foot. And he can go by players, of course. He just slips right by him, as we saw on Friday night.
Rutgers somehow, after playing so well through the first 5 games, today looking to get over 500 for the first time this season. Remarkable. Draw against Duke, loss against Elon, led in both games, very late. Rafferty shot is blocked by Tainter. No counter for Rutgers. Tetro makes the run once more. Correa. JP took that a little long. But back to that point, Rutgers 2-1 in the midst of a 5-game homestand. Would love to close it out here with a 6-point weekend. And then perhaps against SMU on Friday to really get some momentum going into conference play.
What we talk about all the time in the college season is you've got to win your games at home. And certainly if Rutgers can finish this weekend with a sweep, that would be a good confidence boost going in against a very good SMU team to start American play.
Correa went in with a slide tackle there and may have caught some of his own man. As Torta had the initial shot and is limping a bit on your screen, asked the referee to tie his shoe. And it looks like he collided with Hambleton, who's the man down for Rutgers.
Yeah, I think you're right. Torta was going to take that shot on his left foot, and Correa came in with a challenge. Hambleton came in at the same time, and I do think JP may have caught his own player, which is unfortunate, and hopefully Spencer Hambleton can shake this off.
Chris DeAndrea will march out onto the field to take a look at Spencer Hambleton. Clock stops at 18:21 remaining first half. If you're just tuning in, Mael Corbose, a goal in the 13th minute. Got free about 22, 23 yards away. Took a shot, deflected off of a South Carolina defender and through the legs of Velez, the keeper. Unfortunate for him as he was just wrong-footed by it. Hamilton walking off quite gingerly. Looks like a left ankle.
And hopefully it's it's nothing serious. And Spencer, who's been so key to what Rutgers has done this year, he does the dirty work. You don't always hear his name called because his job is to sit in front of that back forward, break up the counterattack when the Scarlet Knights do lose the ball, and then when he gets it, just get rid of it quickly, put it into the path of your playmakers, get it to Corbose, get it to Correa, and let those guys do their thing.
Dan Donegan and Dave Beck, the Rutgers head coach and associate head coach, talking strategy. As you see the Rutgers women looking on, they'll be ready for 2:30. Lots of goals in that squad on Friday night, a 4-0 win over the NEC's Bryant, as they'll look to continue what has been an excellent start to their season.
They are going to sub.
Rutgers currently sits at 5-1-1 on the campaign. Matt Mercier, the lead referee, having a discussion with Dan Donegan as to whether Hambleton will come back on or whether someone will come on for him. And Spencer looks like he wants to immediately return.
Yeah, walking back towards the midfield stripe. Looks like he may be able to walk this one off, so that's good news for Rutgers.
Hambleton is back. He sat out all of 4 seconds. Rutgers will keep possession. A year ago, Rutgers 7-7-1, and in many respects had a start to the year very much like this. They just could not seem to get things going in second halves. This year, outscoring opponents 6-1 in the first half, outscored 6-4 in the second.
But this team is better than the Rutgers one of a year ago. Mael Corbose has really come into his own, and obviously Kenayeze has proved himself a top-quality striker at the college level.
Now, let me preface this next comment by saying that I despise the shot category in soccer. I think it is a useless stat because shots on goal are obviously the only thing that matter. Shots, period, mean nothing if they don't challenge the keeper. And we'll give you the stat in just a moment as Troyer takes the quick throw. South Carolina looks to reset through Rafferty. Cross bending in, punched away by Greshik. There was some danger there. Kenayeze running shoulder to shoulder with Troyer. Are you out shooting teams 32-23 in the first half as Greshik makes yet another solid play, the freshman out of Fairfield? In second halves, opponents 55 shots. Kyle, Rutgers 19.
In some respects, it does speak to the balance of play, though, and that maybe you're sitting back a little bit too much and inviting that pressure in. Once you have the lead, you like to go forward a little bit more and try and add on to your advantage. But again, a lot of that came early in the year, though. I mean, I know we're still early in the year, but in that opening weekend against Duke and Elon, and Rutgers had the lead, and Dan Donegan told us he thought his team fatigued a little bit in the second half of those games down in the heat of the South. So you got to take that into account.
In fairness, some of it comes against Akron,
right,
too.
and that's what the next point is. A really good Akron team that was always going to have a lot of the ball and chances at goal. So the opposition certainly plays a factor in those numbers as well.
Hambleton. Split a few, but could do no more. Torta.
11 for 10.
Little combination there with Turner as Dimitri Vasiliadis waits to come in at midfield, and you just heard from him. He'll be inserted for Eric Sa. Ross Tetro. And we've mentioned his forward movement. Kyle, I don't think we've given him enough credit for his involvement really on all parts of the field so far this year. The sophomore from Freehold went to Colts Neck High School. Involvement out of a 4-3-3 type set where you can move forward from the left back spot, but then also just a solid defender on the whole.
Yeah, he does everything well. He's very much the modern day fullback, isn't he? He's not afraid to get forward. And you like that he's got a willingness to get forward and help out in the attack, but he also marks back really well, and I think he's a good defender too.
Morgan. Here's Spracklin, who has given Rutgers some meaningful minutes. He's yet to play 90, but the redshirt sophomore from Rancocas Valley High School has been more than serviceable. Sa will turn. Wide for Tetro. Let through for Eric Sa. Knocked off the ball, well done and back by Troyer. Combination back there of Troyer and Chapman have laid a couple of strong shoulders on Rutgers forwards. There's Dimitri Vasiliadis. South Carolina will also ask for the services of Devin Lamoureux. That is when Vasiliadis comes in, of course.
Torta!
Kaba.
Ball in there!
Mark Burson imploring Torta to make his way into pockets of space that are wide open in the center of the pitch. Lots of experience at the national level. He was the U.S. national team U18 coach way back in the late 1980s. Spracklin. 13:30 to go. First half of play. It's Rutgers 1, South Carolina nothing. Out of conference game here at Yersack Field. Mael Corbeau scoring in the 13th minute. As Vasiliadis on for Rutgers and Lamoureux on for South Carolina. Aaron Beulah off for South Carolina. Sa off for Rutgers. Morgan will clear. Sikane Eze just kind of waiting for a mistake. Nearly had one about 15 minutes ago, shortly after the Corbeau's goal. Greshik right on to Corbeau's. Can turn 3-on-3. That was a well-struck ball. And Eze decides to wait back, and it allows Burnett to knock it for Kaba.
That time Corbeau's just under-hit the pass a little bit, allowed Burnett to come back and intercept.
Torta heads it on. They'll play advantage and then whistle.
Well done. Hey, Dev. That's it, man.
It was Rafferty that was pushed down. Smile out of Matt Mercier, the lead official. Rafferty screaming his head off as that ball's being played across the way, but official just waiting for the advantage to complete.
Was that a talking point this weekend or what? Officials waiting for
Oh, yes.
the advantage. Josie Altidore certainly robbed of a goal by some poor officiating by Martin Atkinson over the weekend.
That at the Premier League level. Altidore with Sunderland. The goal kick here for David Greshik. The goals against average is a deceiving stat this early in the year, so the 1.5 just because there's been a lot of goals in some of these contests, late PKs especially, but Greshik just 8 goals against, saving 76% of shots. He has been snake bitten, hasn't been able to get that shutout yet, but has been very good.
So yeah, 3 of them from the penalty spot too. All 3 here at Yersack Field, and all were well-taken penalties as well. He didn't have a chance to stop any of them.
5 shots to 2 in favor of Rutgers. Waiting to come on for RU, Zach Bialik, Todd Webb. I think for us, you and I, Kyle, that have been around the program for a few years, it was, I wouldn't say heartwarming is the right word, but great to see Todd Webb get on the score sheet on Friday night. Here's Torta across the way off the shoulder of Morgan for a corner.
Right, Todd Webb, a kid that's battled through so many injuries in his career here, and then it's just such a rewarding feeling for him to get on the end of that great pass by Greshik and get a goal for himself.
Rutgers women's team staring behind the corner. Blocked by J.P. Correa. It's taken by Lamoureux.
Yeah, and it's not a good corner by Lamoureux. You have to do better than that. I mean, that's why you put a man there in J.P. Correa 10 yards from the kick taker, but the delivery's got to be better from Lamoureux.
U17 U.S. men's national team training camp was Lamoureux. That one not well taken. 10 minutes to go in the first. Rutgers leading 1-0 on the goal by Mael Corbeau. Long throw bounces all the way to Greshik. It was taken by Wire. Similar punt to the one that Greshik hit on Friday night, but South Carolina was further back than Princeton's back line.
Yeah, but it's such a good ball that, look, the right back's got to deal with it for South Carolina. And Rutgers gets a throw, and what it does, okay, you didn't get it in field of play, but South Carolina's got to knock it out. You get a throw, and you can get up the field now.
Bialik and Webb on for Eze and Correa. Zach Bialik, the freshman from Wardlaw Hartridge. Immediately onto the ball. Bialik playing, of course, at Wardlaw, where Mike Romeo did such a great job turning around the program before coming to Rutgers. Here's Corbos. Knocked away, but Todd Webb, you mentioned him battling through injuries over the course of his career. That one rolls out for Tetro just a little bit. Webb now a redshirt junior from Toms River North. Medical redshirt 2012. 13 games battling through injuries in 2010. 16 games in 2011. Not much in terms of stats, just kind of played anywhere on the field, defense, midfield, forward, wherever you could get him on. And now is playing up top for Rutgers, and he'll receive here. Double teamed in the corner. Couldn't get a touch, was trying to flick it off of Kaba, but instead 8 minutes to go in the first, it's a goal kick. There is the number 20. He'll take his place right next to the final center back here and try to steal one before halftime as he did Friday night.
Yeah, and you can see what his job's going to be this season through the first 5 games. He's just going to come in and spell Kene Eze for 10 minutes at a time. Just make himself a nuisance, hang off the last shoulder of the defender.
Corbos, the step over is brilliant, but just enough of a nick by Kaba to make it difficult. Now Brooke O'Leary. And offside along the wing was Vasiliadis. Rutgers students will like the lead. 1-0 for Rutgers. A win for Rutgers football yesterday of 28-10 over Eastern Michigan. They'll host Arkansas next week. Women's soccer and men's soccer getting W's Friday. A field hockey win yesterday. Pretty big weekend for RU Athletics. Eric LeGrand, of course, having his jersey retired at halftime yesterday. There's something to this, Kyle. First time we'll see Joe Setchell today.
Sure.
Maybe keeping him fresh.
Yeah, sure. It's tough Friday, Sunday on the quick turnaround, particularly when you play the late game Friday and then you got to come back at noon on a Sunday. I remember he had a hip injury last year, too, that kept him out the entire season. Dan Donegan just trying to protect his center back a little bit. 9-conference game. He can afford to keep him out a little bit and get him a chance to rest.
Curtis Turner took a chip there. Burnett.
Back in, Jeff.
Chapman. It's brought down and deflected toward Greshik as taking a spinning kick was Wire. 6 minutes to go, opening stanza. Joe Setchell waiting on the touchline, the redshirt senior back out of Kingsland, England. Long punt by Greshik. Hope you'll stay with us for the whole day as there's Setch. We'll have the women's soccer team on the back end of this. 2:30 kickoff, approximately. They will take on in-state rival Princeton. No trouble here for the Rutgers back line as South Carolina appears quite frustrated, I think, with their build-up potential.
Yeah, Gamecocks, they just haven't been able to get on the ball in midfield. It's been a lot of long stuff over the top, and you could see they wanted to get into the pockets and move the ball around, but they just haven't been able to possess it long enough, and Rutgers has made it frustrating on them as well.
And for the Rutgers Scarlet Knights, number 2, Joe Setchell, replacing number
Rafferty
17,
off. Hamilton Carlin on for South Carolina, the freshman forward from Daniel Island, South Carolina. There's Hambleton coming off. He's a little banged up from earlier in the first half. He's replaced by Setchell. Joe Setchell in the center of midfield. Now he'll move back to his normal position.
I didn't think we'd see that.
He is moving forward, but that's because of the set piece here. There is Sech. Great soccer mind, as you would imagine when you grow up in the United Kingdom. You get that education since you were a youth. But I did not think that he was as versatile as Dan Donegan told us pregame that he could play center mid. Corbeau's on the free kick. Header. It was on, but just wide. Going to get it was Todd Webb.
Again, good delivery from the set piece by Mael Corbeau. Swings it in there. Todd Webb attacks it. Gets up, free header. Just unable to direct it on target. He's a good ways out, though, about 12 yards out. That's tough to get it on frame from that distance.
And Webb and Spracklin both there. Took a couple deflections inside the box, but perfectly placed by Corbeau's. Torda, through ball, and easy for Tetro. Vasiliadis, Bayalik, playing the wings. Away by Tainter with 3:25 to go in the first. Rutgers holding a 1-0 advantage on South Carolina. Comes in with a win over East Tennessee State and High Point. They put 5 goals down on High Point. 2 from Rafferty. Taken away Vasiliadis. Quick counter looking for Todd Webb. Got no one with him. Webb pulled a little bit. Got free of Turner.
Does really well there to keep the ball.
Corbeau's.
Only way you see! Monday! Come on, quickly! Hey!
Morgan back for Greshik with 2:45 on the first half clock. Rutgers outshooting South Carolina 6-2. I think Dan Donegan probably could believe that they should be up 2-0, as they had a great chance to double the lead. Good advantage played by Mercier as well for the foul up top by Wire.
I don't think they'll be disappointed with a 1-0 lead, though. They've come out and, you know, we said off the top it's got to be a bring your own energy day, and I thought Rutgers did that in the first 10-15 minutes of the game and got rewarded with the Corbeau's goal. Of course, you know, you look at it and say he was a bit fortunate on the deflection, but still he created that space for himself and took a chance and got rewarded for it.
Half number 1 of 4 that we'll play today, Kyle. Ready for stamina-filled day?
I am ready. I might need a Mountain Dew in between.
Wire cut off by Spracklin. Setchell is playing in front of the back line.
Yeah, he stepped into that role for Hamilton.
Here's Webb. Wide for Tetra. Corbeau's. If he gets free here, he'll have some room to the inside. Like a basketball crossover to get free. To his left foot, strikes away, blocked by Kaba.
It really was. He had his defender on skates there. Anywhere he wanted to go, Corbeau's was going to get by him. Worked it on the left foot, just didn't catch it clean.
Brookoleri for Corbeau's. Webb. Flicked it on for Brookoleri. A lot of legs in there. To no whistle. And now it's there. It was on Webb. Have to like how Mercier has reffed this first half. It's been excellent. Playing the advantage on both sides. It's refreshing to see.
Yeah, and he certainly has benefited from there haven't been a lot of hard challenges flying in either. Has made his job easier.
We're inside the final minute of the first half here of game 1 today. Rutgers and South Carolina men's soccer. Rutgers women's soccer against Princeton to follow. Danny Breslauer, Kyle Franco with you on RVision. Presented by AT&T via ScarletKnights.com. Mael Corbeau's has RU ahead 1-0 off a 13th minute goal as we play here in the 45th. That's over Tainter's head, but he gets there before Wire. 20 seconds. Long throw into the box. Dealt with by Setchell, and that will do it for half number 1.
Yeah, so far so good for Rutgers. Came out today, put pressure on South Carolina in the first 15 minutes, and were rewarded with a Mael Corbeau's goal. Yeah, he gets lucky on the deflection, but hey, he created the opportunity and he took the chance, and for that, Rutgers goes into the locker room with a 1-0 lead.
I can tell you what Dan Donegan's halftime speech will be. Get that man his first clean sheet and build on your lead. Rutgers 1, South Carolina 0 at the half on RVision.
www.scarletites.com. to the field, your Rutgers Scarlet Knights.
These are take it till a minute. 2:30 on the clock right now. You boys already feasting down there? You boys already feasting down there? Yep. It wasn't a bothersome first half for Rutgers. They lead 1-0 on South Carolina after 45 minutes. The man in the middle, Mael Corbose, the number 6, with his 5th goal of the year for Rutgers in the 13th minute. Danny Breslauer, Kyle Franco with you on RVision, presented by AT&T. Game 1 of 2 today. Rutgers-Princeton women to follow at 2:30. Kyle, I know what your keys are for the second because we mentioned them right before the half. Keep Greshik's clean sheet. Get Dan Donegan some insurance goals, but how do you go about doing that?
Yeah, because I feel like we've been here before, right? Rutgers with the 1-0 lead going into the second half. You just got to attack, stay on the front foot, keep South Carolina under pressure. Don't sit back and invite them on. You've shown today you're the better team in midfield. You've got the ability to knock it around, so keep doing that. Keep looking to get Corbose into those pockets. See if you can get Eze running in behind, and just get another goal. Get yourself a cushion here.
Dan Donegan's side outshoots South Carolina in the first 8-4. Both teams with a pair of corners. Greshik makes 3 saves, a couple on dribblers. 2 saves for Velez, who was unfortunate to give up a tally in the 13th from Corbose. There's a shot from 22 yards away, which deflected and found its way past the keeper, much to the delight of the Rutgers student section, which has made its way to the Bush campus today off Bartholomew Road here at Yersack Field. Troyer, he would like to join the attack quite a bit, as well as Chapman. Chapman will take the chip in, deflected on in front, and no pull down, as Hambleton did just enough to shake free and get that ball to his keeper, Greshik.
Dangerous ball in right there. South Carolina, good start to this second half. Hamilton was in there, and a South Carolina player went down inside the box. Referee waved it off.
Mercier had a great angle to the play, the lead official. Tetro clearing. They'll say no foul as Chapman comes in. Chips far post, the header down is wide. As Rafferty was building up to the far post, Tetro has rolled off the field in some agony.
It's bad news for the Scarlet Knights if he wouldn't be able to continue. He's had an excellent first half and really a great start to the season at left back. And you wonder if maybe he just rolled an ankle.
He was caught by Asa Chris, too. Had the ball on his feet, and Tetro walking it off and pointing to the spot where he was, he believes, illegally touched.
Shouldn't he be closer to the ball? Like he's standing in the middle of the thing, and
As we play here in the 47th minute. Rutgers scored over a half hour ago now through Mael Corbose.
You got to match the energy right now if you're the Scarlet Knights. South Carolina's come out here looking for the equalizer, pumped a few dangerous balls into your box. You just got to lift yourself here and match their energy.
We'll repeat the stat that we did in the first. Rutgers outscoring opponents 7-1 in the first half this year. They've been outscored 6-4 in second halves and outshot on a 3-1 clip. Here's Kene Eze off a fortuitous deflection. It was 1-on-2 to the box. Eze back for Sa. Sa for Eze. He's onside, and his cross finds no one on the far side of the box.
He wanted to get bailed out. You know what I'm saying?
Anderson. Tainter will send that toward the backup keeper, Mitch Wallier. Makes a nice catch over his shoulder on the bench. Tainter doing just enough. I think that we see his versatility on a day-to-day basis, but just based on through training camp, Kyle, when there was discussion as to whether Mitchell Tainter would play forward or back. As you get a look at the number 5 there, shows you how good he is as a soccer player. Rafferty, far post. Greshik had the angle measured.
Just opened up for Rafferty there. He likes to take that first time. He's looking to bend that into the far post. You know, he's not away by that far, but you're right. I think Greshik had that covered had it been on target.
Rafferty last year, 14 starts, 12 shots, did not find the goal. Has 2 early ones this year against High Point. He was one of the few players that was a part of the 2010 team that went to the Conference USA Finals and to the 3rd round of the NCAA tournament, the round of 16. That back in 2010. Had his first career goal against Bradley, which was a national power at the time. Corner kick here for South Carolina. And there is Rafferty. He'll stalk his way toward the penalty spot and await this corner, which will be taken by Arambula. Arambula to the box. It's headed down, still dangerous. This will actually stay in play on a couple of bounces and go out off of Rafferty. The Gamecocks are pressing the tempo here in the first 4 minutes of the second, looking to even this scoreline. Rafferty and Tainter to the ball. Away by Tainter. Correa's been quiet. And Mitchell will clear this. Not much from Eze other than that one touch toward Velez that he was able to save. And frankly, there hasn't been a ton in this game in terms of offensive production other than Corboza's shot toward goal.
Yeah, a little frustrating for Kene today. Hasn't got a lot of touches on the ball. Just got to be patient, though. Keep working.
Offside flag up. Even when Corboz has a bad touch, it's at the right time when no one's around. 4 on 4. It's Brookeleri. JP Correa to his left foot. Had the right trajectory, but it was going wide always.
Well, that's better from Correa. That's what Dan Donegan's asking. Be more aggressive. Don't be afraid to take that shot on right there. A little step over, gets it on the preferred left foot. Just couldn't get it on target.
Velez will take the goal kick, the blue goalie jersey for the backup, the freshman from Florida, filling in for Robert Beebe, the redshirt sophomore who was injured about a week ago now. Became the starter this year after being a part-time starter a year ago, with 4 starts as a redshirt freshman, including against number 13 Wake Forest. Really, since Kene scored in the finale last year against Villanova, it's been all systems go for him. Corboz the intercept, maybe one too many touches. Probably could have had one. Instead, Rutgers will keep possession and go out wide for Spracklet. Hambleton. through for Brooklyn. It's a great turn to get into the box, but just too much size for Brooklyn to get through, and he trips up Kaba.
Yeah, right, it's a good idea by Brooklyn. Just used his body well to shield the ball and had an angle there in the goal. Kaba does well, gets back, body between Brooklyn and the ball, and then Nate unfortunately reaches around and fouls him.
Mohamedou Kaba, you can see the size there in the back for the 6'2" junior defender out of Ypsilanti, Michigan. That, of course, the place where Eastern Michigan is located, where Rutgers took on Eastern Michigan yesterday just behind us at High Point Solution Stadium. Kaba was the Michigan Player of the Year according to AnnArbor.com. Some room. It's wide for Anderson. The lefty shot is blocked. Combination of Tetro and Correa has been there all day, hockey style, to knock down these shots. Tainter is dispossessed.
Get in, JP!
Torta goes diving at the penalty spot, but is just nudged by Tetro and back.
You gotta do something here, man.
1-0 today certainly does not feel like 1-0 against Akron, does it?
No.
Akron was always going to get something out of that. The amount of possession that they had for the better part of 90 minutes. Eventually they did, plus a penalty kick in double overtime. Torta has the overlap. Again, it's Rafferty along the byline, but he cannot save it. Rafferty and Anderson have made some dangerous runs here to start the second half. And for the first 8 minutes of the second half, as we play here in the 54th, can be said that South Carolina has had the better of it.
I agree. Gamecocks on top to start the second half. Just weathering that storm, you feel like if Rutgers can get through this first 10, 15 minutes, just sort of see them out, that original push of energy South Carolina's going to come out with, get back on the ball in the game, see if Rutgers can then start to knock it around a little bit, frustrate South Carolina, and see if that results in a second goal.
Tetro, they want to move forward here. Correa, Corbose. Back for Tetro on the overlap. Good build up. Eze's waiting. Tetro's ball was a little bit too far to the top of the 6. Burnett sprinting through. 3-on-2 here for South Carolina. Slide tackle by Tainter, slowed it up just enough.
Yeah, it was. It's good work by Mitchell Tainter. Didn't win it cleanly, but you're right, did just enough to break the attack up.
Correa back heel. Corbose shoulder to shoulder. Did not disrupt Turner one bit. The Sheffield Englander. Torta's behind and onside. Rafferty waiting for the cutback. Instead, it goes to Burnett. Shot is blocked on another excellent slide tackle, this one by Drew Morgan. And then Hambleton is taken down to an advantage play. Sa. Drew Morgan's intervention.
Boy, you go back to that play, you can't let a player in behind though. Torta's running free in behind, getting to the byline and a chance to pick out a cross, but you're right, Drew Morgan sells out defensively, slides in with the block. But that's what the concern is, that South Carolina's got somebody getting behind.
Tetro for Correa off the great feed from Corbose. Correa makes his man miss completely, but still will go off of Correa for a goal kick as Anderson was on the turf sliding around knowing nothing of the ball. JP almost could have brought that to his right and had a shot on goal.
Oh, he's so left-footed. That's something I think he's got to work on, is being more comfortable when the ball is on the right foot and wanting to take a shot on, or being able to play a ball, still being able to play that killer pass with his right foot. He's so left-foot dominant.
Worth mentioning, a great win for recruiting Friday night. You have to beat Princeton in the state. Monmouth too. Scrimmage Monmouth this year, so you don't get an official result against them. It's a scoreless draw in that game. You beat Princeton, taking care of business in state. So important.
Sure, though, I might argue the best team in the state is Fairleigh Dickinson.
Yeah, and that's certainly worth mentioning. FDU, a 3-0 win earlier this year over Princeton. Very good side.
22nd in the country in the latest poll.
Went to the round of 16 last year in the NCAAs.
By the way, won at St. John's and at St. Louis in that NCAA tournament last year while we're on it.
Eze, that'll be over his head just a bit. Sprackland tried the cross. And they lost in PKs or OT at UNC. One of the two, I believe. Also not a bad Sweet 16
I think it was an
opponent.
overtime loss, but yeah, you're right. Certainly soccer in New Jersey, very, very, very good.
12 minutes into the second half, still 1-0 Rutgers. 13th minute goal by Mael Corbose. His 5th of the year. Rutgers looking to get over 500 for the first time this year. South Carolina looking to get back to 500. Torta skies one. Someone's windshield got a real knock.
That was a decent chance for Torta, too. Good work by Chris right there just to lay it back into his path. And Torta comes on to a first-time strike. I think he's got to do better with that, controlling it and keeping it down. Got to test the goalkeeper.
The students were first to let whoever got the abuse of their car there, let them know that they were appreciative of the laugh. I'm going to say, I pulled in today. Doubleheader, we have to park out along the golf course because there are a few too many people in the coach's parking lot. I literally pull up to the 4th fairway, you know, where we have to put our car. I don't think I could have been parked for more than 15 seconds. Someone shanks their approach on the par 5 there within 6 feet of my car. So you really got to play that 4th hole tight along the fairway here. Otherwise, we're in trouble.
We would appreciate that, golfers.
Tetra left wing.
He's going for 7.
Still Tetra.
Because, you know, it's not like we wouldn't shatter a couple
Well,
windshields,
of
too.
course. That's why we're not out there playing today. We played 6 o'clock in the morning. No one possibly could be there to get hurt. Burnett through ball. It's Rafferty. It's 2-on-2. Good recovery by Rutgers. They create shape. Rafferty in the box. Sprackland there first. Saw plenty of room. Textbook, really, in recovery. Correa's tripped. Rutgers gets the restart at midfield. Vasiliadis waiting to check in. But then again, Dan Donegan cannot be thrilled. This is still 1-0.
Yeah, and his team's been under a little bit of pressure here in the second half. South Carolina's come out and picked up its energy and played. I thought played some dangerous balls into the box and been able to create a couple half chances. Gamecocks haven't quite found that quality in the final third. Rutgers just trying to weather this storm here to start the second.
Great touch from Correa. Hamilton with loads of space. Eze looks to turn, gets a throw in. It'll send Vasiliadis on.
Coming in the game for the Rutgers Scarlet Knights, number 11, Dimitri Vasiliadis. He replaces number 7, Zachary Ayala.
Referee just let him put the ball back in play before Eric Sa got on the field. Got off the field there. Rutgers actually had 12 guys on the field there.
We saw that earlier this year, didn't we? Penn State, the issue with the substitution as to whether they'd put it down or not, but no yellow card was given. Saw it earlier as well in the Fordham women's game this year.
Yeah, Sa was just slow jog off the field, and the referee at Rutgers put it back in play.
Eze. Build up here for Rutgers is 3-on-2. And Kene Eze leads that out way too much for Vasiliadis. I think he would have been better served to make that pass early and then cut toward the middle.
Number 10, Devin Lamoureux, replacing number 9, Jeffrey Torta.
Lamoureux for Torta. I think Torta has been at least a little annoying up top for South Carolina. And that's the point, that right now Rutgers' backline has not been annoyed, even. Troubled. Which is really all you can ask as a forward, is to trouble the back line, make them answer the questions. Under Dan Donegan, Rutgers 18-10-1 at home. You mention it all the time, have to win your home games. Tainter wins that tackle. Correa got it back to him, throwing Rutgers, doing all the right things, but still trying to break through with insurance. Correa for Corbose. Through ball, Eze, he is behind the defense if it gets there. Good play by Chapman to cut it off. Still Eze into the box. Kene Eze shoots and scores! His 4th of the year will double Rutgers' advantage.
Talk about just being patient and weathering the storm. Well, there it is for Rutgers again. It's Mael Corbose pulling his strings, plays Eze in behind. You know what? Credit Kene Eze because he shows a great bit of strength. Troyer came in and looked like he had that snuffed out. Eze stays with it onto his right foot, and he's able to slip it underneath the goalkeeper. Velez for a 2-0 Rutgers lead, and that's exactly what the doctor ordered for the Scarlet Knights. A second goal here to give themselves a bit of a cushion.
Bialik on for Correa as Kene Eze gets his 4th of the year. Donegan talks to Correa about what he'd like to see in terms of aggression. But it comes here just after we had played 60.
Yeah, it was almost, you could feel like Rutgers had kind of taken that punch from South Carolina early in the second half, seen what the Gamecocks had, starting to get on the ball a little bit more, and then just like that, Corbose in behind for Eze, who does a really nice job there to fight off the first challenge because Troyer had come in and it looked like he had it figured out. It stopped Eze there. Kene stays with it, is able to drive it to goal. I might have some questions about the goalkeeper Velez getting beat by the ball that gets underneath his hand there, but you know what? Credit to Kene Eze for the great show of persistence and strength. And then a pretty nice finish, too, although Velez maybe should have done a little bit better with it.
You know what that goal reminds me of is the 3rd goal Rutgers got last year, 2 years ago actually, against Drexel. Kene Eze against Talbot Bleal, the defender, and he beats Pusenin, the keeper from Drexel, on a very similar shot that really has no business getting in the far post. But that was a well-taken shot from Eze coming after 60 minutes played.
There's still 27 minutes left in the game, though, so you don't want to just say, okay, now it's 2-0, now we're going to drop off again. You don't want to keep inviting South Carolina on. Still keep up your high pressure. Still keep trying to knock the ball around here. You don't want to fall off too much here.
61st minute goal for Eze, the senior, is his 4th. He had 8 last year, 7 as a freshman for William Patterson. He's a goal scorer as pure as they come. The assist is to Mael Corbose for the great through ball, his 1st of the year after having 7 a year ago. It's 2-0 Rutgers as we play here with 26 minutes remaining in the 64th. Chip by Corbose was looking for an on-running Vasiliadis. Coming into today, 31 of Rutgers' 52 shots, as the offside flag is up, came from the duo of Corbose and Eze, and that really does not change today either.
No, well, they're the 2 most dangerous players on the field for Rutgers. So that's what you would expect.
They both scored today. It is the freshman backup keeper Velez that concedes both, as well as the goal to St. John's on Friday night. Eze's back heel was well intended for Hambleton. They'll play advantage back here, which Hambleton had grabbed the jersey of Aaron Beulah.
Danny, I'll say this about Kene Eze. I think he might have a professional future. I mean, I'm not sure that he's a guy that'll be an MLS draft pick, but I think he'll get a chance. Somebody will invite him into camp and take a look at him, and I think he'll have an opportunity to make a team and play professionally in this country.
7 goals at William Patterson as a freshman, 6 and then 8 in his 2 years at Rutgers.
Be interesting to hear Dan Donegan's thoughts on that and if he sees how Kene Eze projects at the next level.
That was his 25th collegiate goal, his 18th at Rutgers. Climbing up the lists. That's a good amount of goals as a Scarlet Knight with 18. Rutgers probably not done today either. Corbose didn't get anything on that as it lands right for Troyer. All conference selection in Conference USA. Wins will be a bit easier to come by this year for the Gamecocks in conference. without SMU around, without Memphis around.
They're now Rutgers' problem.
They are. At least for this year, until Rutgers moves on to the Big Ten. And then sides like Penn State, which Rutgers has a 4-1 win over this year, become their problem. Also, you know, just the defending national champs, Indiana,
And Maryland.
Michigan, and yeah, exactly. Another well-placed free kick. I think both sides today have taken some excellent free kicks in terms of where they've stayed with them. So maybe the men's team taking a page out of the women's playbook. 4 goals Friday night. They'd like to build on that today against a Princeton team, which you'll see at 2:30 against the Rutgers women, that has not allowed a goal this year in 3 games. So something's got to give.
You can always throw the records out too when you get Rutgers against Princeton in the local rivalry.
I thought after a 7-goal doubleheader between these two sides on Friday night that Lou Brogno would be asked back for every game. They didn't want me back after that offensive output. My goodness. They hope that all those that were on the Yom Kippur holiday and fasting had an easy and meaningful one. It's Corbeau's chips over top. Eze is into the box again. Can Eze's strike is blocked by Kaba, and it's a Rutgers corner.
Yeah, and it's Corbeau's just picking out that perfect pass. Eze drifting off the back shoulder of the defender, takes it down. First touch was decent, just didn't quite sit up the way he wanted it to, and Kaba's able to come over and get a block in.
Pre-game pep talk from the athletic director, Julie Herman. Glenn Crooks there with his back to us as well. The Rutgers women's team hearing from their athletic director before their contest today. Corbeau's corner, in for Eze, flicks it on brilliantly. The header is home from Mitchell Tainter. It's 3 for Rutgers, and it is a brilliant finish.
And it's game, set, match, and it's going to be 3 points for the Scarlet Knights off the corner. Kene Eze making that near post run, flicks it on, and then Mitchell Tainter, unmarked at the back post, comes flying in to finish it off. That's what Tainter's good at when he gets forward from the back, really strong in the air, and he shows it there, attacking the ball at the back post.
First goal of the year for Tainter. If you've been around the program since he started day one of his freshman year, he had 3 goals last year, including scoring in his first career game, the winner against Fordham, a 1-0 win August 24th of last year. That off of a set piece that he cleaned up the garbage. This time it was a set play. Eze to the near post, flick it on to Tainter at the far post. And boy, was it executed to perfection.
And the best way to defend the lead is always to score more goals, so Rutgers this afternoon building on that advantage at halftime, and today they've gone in, got a second, got a third, exactly what Dan Donegan would have wanted.
Unfortunately today, because of the doubleheader, we will not be able to hear from Dan Donegan post-game. We have a tight window in terms of getting Coach Crooks and our availability before the game. As you see Adam Schwarzschild of the Rutgers marketing team, T-shirt toss for the 3rd goal. Greshik was brave to go bounce that one away with his fist. Over the top of Morgan. 2 goals in 6 minutes for the Scarlet Knights, Eze and Tainter. And a just decision by the Rutgers official scorer today, Kim Zivkovic, to give both assists there on that corner. 1 to Corbeau's, 1 to Eze. They are deserved. And I'm not normally a double assist guy. You know, it's a hockey thing. But in this case, that is the right choice. So for Corbeau's, it's his 2nd assist of the game to go along with the early goal. And for Eze, he now has a goal and an assist. Aaron Beulah on the corner. Away by Tainter, working on both ends. And Rutgers will push out as we play here in the 70th minute. Kaba on for Aaron Beulah, and it is Greshik to make the save.
That's a big save by David Greshik. Kaba won the initial header, and Aaron Beulah's got a crack at it. Good job by Greshik. Off his line, you could see comes out, arms extended. Make yourself big.
Ross, can't happen.
That target size is now a lot smaller for Aaron Beulah. Good save by the goalkeeper.
He'll immediately run to the corner, take another one, and he'll play catch with the man who just turned him away. David Greshik, your freshman goalie from West Essex High School. Told you about his college work here in 5 career games, now into his 6th. First team All-Essex County in high school. The captain of Match Fit Chelsea, one of the best local clubs in New Jersey. And also a member of the PDA U17 and U18 academy teams. Counter for South Carolina. Hamilton Carlin. Mitchell Tainter snuffs it out. Rutgers can build with numbers here, 4-on-4, if they choose to move forward through Vasiliadis. Dimitri will hustle to the corner. This is where his speed really pays off. The cross just was not far enough back into the 18-yard area. RU out shooting South Carolina 12-9, 5-4 on target. 4 saves for Greshik, just 2 for Velez, but this is what Greshik does well, just to clear the damage.
Yeah.
What are you going in for?
Rutgers goals in the 13th, 61st, and 67th minutes. Corbeau's, Eze, Tainter in that order. Unassisted, and then Corbeau's and Eze on the assist. Burnett. That one rolled in by Turner. Morgan was the one to deal with it. He'll do it again. And at 3-0, you can afford to play one man up top, stay back a little, and punch a few up top with your clearances.
Sure, and you can sit in there. South Carolina's got to throw players forward to try and get a goal, get back in this game, and then they'll be spaced in behind the counter.
Bialik to the outside. Dan Donegan can be thrilled that his side, after leading 1-0, did not succumb to their 1-0 curse that they have had the past 2 weeks.
Yeah, and South Carolina came out and put pressure on Rutgers in the first 10, 15 minutes of this second half. Popped a few dangerous balls into the area, but the Scarlet Knights' back four was able to deal with it. Greshik came out, claims it a couple times, makes a couple saves, and then all of a sudden you've weathered that early pressure by South Carolina. You're back into the game, and then Eze gets the goal, and that kind of gave you that cushion. And then, of course, off the set piece again, Corbeau's, Eze flicks it on for Tainter, and once it's 3-0, you're pretty much in great position here to get the 3 points.
Cross far post is Carlin. He is not able to keep it off the byline. Greshik playing referee and goalie. Hand up in the air and then go back and get it. Kyle, what is goal number 1 now here in the final 17 minutes?
Keep a clean sheet.
That's
David
right.
Greshik.
That's right. Mike Romeo is somewhere down there in the pod, and you know that's all he's thinking, that the kid has deserved at least a couple so far this year.
Goalkeepers love those clean sheets too.
The fact that there's a category for it on the stat sheet says all you need to know. Carlin into the box. It's away by Morgan.
And I'm sure David Greshik is looking forward to getting his first one. They always say the first is the hardest.
We play in the 74th. There's still quite a bit of time, in fact, an entire quarter hour. Long throw from Wire. Turner, Carlin, off the outside of the post as it skims by. And they will play advantage, and it's a set piece for South Carolina, 20 yards dead on.
Well, he didn't let that, he's brought that back there. I don't know about that, because that came through to the South Carolina player, had a chance to score there.
Normally you wouldn't call that back.
Yeah, I'm not sure why he's called that back.
Never saw the advantage end, frankly.
Yeah, the advantage plays out when Carlin Hamilton gets a shot at goal there.
Well, Aaron Beulah will take it anyway, and it's in a very dangerous spot. Very similar to the one that Martin Seiler scored on when Rutgers led 3-0 against Penn State to end Greshik's clean sheet there in his first career home game.
Dimitri! Kenny, get on the wall!
Four-man bouncing wall for Rutgers. Kenny Eze will hop in and make it a 5-man wall. Arambula drives it low, it's blocked. Again, Rutgers Wall up to the task.
Yeah, Wall does its job. You could see what Arambula was trying to do there, hoping the wall would jump. He was going to go underneath it. It's also a difficult skill, though, to get it up and down over the wall from that distance.
Todd Webb waiting to come on. 15 minutes to go. Rutgers up 3-0 and really has not been troubled in back by South Carolina. There is Webb. Long throw from Carlin. It's a line drive headed away. Bryant Nibbs, what do you think about that? Rutgers graduate assistant down there on the bench.
I like the defending from Drew Morgan. That's a great defensive header.
Eze, 2-on-2, and he is fast, but he is able to keep that in. Saw his back post. Great tackle. Meaty, but great from Turner. Eze even knows it as he gets to his feet. Doesn't appeal for anything. Arambula. Tetro first there before Carlin. Bialik was nipped. Cannot keep it in bounds.
Go! Go! Sa! Get the ball, Sa! Turn!
Corbeau's for Sa. Good switch of fields to Vasiliadis. 3-on-3 for Rutgers streaming forward. Dimitri Vasiliadis is cut off. Troyer showing his muscle. Vasiliadis fights to get it back. Rutgers well on its way to getting over 500 for the first time on the campaign and having some serious momentum heading into a conference opener Friday night against SMU. Corbeau's. Bialik on the turn. Actually had some room to shoot if he wanted to, but it's a throw-in. Webb on for Eze.
Ken Eze's done his job today. I thought he was frustrated a little bit in the first half. Didn't see a whole lot of the ball, but I'll tell you what, second half he made an impact today. Great strength on the goal to fight off a challenge and then slip it past the goalkeeper far post.
Goal and an assist for Eze, who will leave on an excellent day, his 4th goal of the season. Spracklin. And Brookeleri away from the ball, just completely decked one of the South Carolina midfielders. Really not necessary as Eli Dent went down. There's Kene on the bench getting some much-deserved water. Cut back by Burnett. Saw can counter, but there are no numbers for Rutgers. Saw got loose. Vasiliadis is out wide. Instead, it was more of a direct route for Webb. Velez is there.
Yeah, just the wrong pass that time from Sa. I thought he had it on the Vasiliadis early on the right-hand side.
Redemption? No, this time right into Cava. It's been a little bit of a struggle, I think, in the first couple of weeks of the year for Sa to find his true identity in terms of on the pitch, like where he needs to fit into the spots. We'll start to see that soon.
Yeah, well, he was a central midfield player at the Red Bull Academy, coming up, and he comes here and he's asked to play outside on the right or on the left side of midfield, and that's an adjustment because you're not seeing the ball as much. You have a little bit more defensive responsibility in that outside midfield as opposed to as that central attacking midfielder. I mean, just take the Akron game, for example, and he had the kid that was on that on the right side, Abdul Salam, who's just flying forward, and I'll tell you what, Eric Sa had never seen that before.
No way. Abdul Salam was also about 6'3", so that was a bit of a problem. Todd Webb is on, but he's cut off by Troyer. It's a win for Rutgers. Corbeau's had it knocked off of him. It really takes 2 or 3 players, as South Carolina has thrown at him, to do that. Foul on Morgan. No, offside flag is up. On the near side, I had missed that. USC will go to a new goalkeeper at the next stoppage, by the way. Chris Duzan, redshirt junior. Not Guzan, Duzan. Guzan, of course, the former USC goalkeeper who became a U.S. men's national team goalie. On for Rutgers will be Kieran Kemmerer as well, the redshirt freshman defender from Belmead in Montgomery High School.
Playing in goal for the South Carolina Gamecocks, number 34, Chris Duzan.
And Duzan comes on.
25, Marco Velez.
He's from Case, South Carolina.
South Carolina, number 16.
It's been a tough day for Marco Velez. A little unlucky on the opener for Rutgers when it got deflected and left him wrong-footed, but you know, he probably should have done better on the Kene Eze goal.
This is Duzan's first career action. Did not see time last year. Corbeau's for Tetro, who is onside. Into the box, Duzan, a quick involvement. How about that?
Well, they say the ball always finds a new player.
9:40 to go in regulation.
Nice. Yeah, it's nice for Duzan on his first appearance of the season, first touch. Looks it into the gloves. Always good for the confidence.
And Dan Donegan before the game told us that with 10 minutes to go in the game against St. John's, it was St. John's out shooting South Carolina 11-5, right? And then they end up being outshot. St. John's was 12-11 by South Carolina. And South Carolina, of course, falls 1-0 there. Very similar situation here today. Rutgers out shooting South Carolina 13-11, but up 3-0. Webb wants to add it as he had one on Friday night. He gets it knocked away. Troyer over top. It is a great ball. Tainter in a foot race wins it. It's a corner kick.
It's good recovery speed by Mitchell Tainter. You're right, Troyer. Great ball over the top, getting his teammate in behind. Tainter gets the tackle in.
Mitchell Tainter has a goal today, his first of the season, fourth of his career. It was off a header from a corner kick set play that had Corbeau send it near post. The ball never hit the ground as Eze flicked it on with his head right onto Tainter's head for a brilliant finish. Greshik receives that. A freshman with quite a future. That, of course, being Greshik. Got 8 minutes to play. Don't forget, we have another one after this. There's still at least 90 minutes of soccer to play today. Rutgers and Princeton women's soccer to kick off about 2:30. Sprackland. Vasiliadis. Webb kept it in, but Troyer did a great turn just to get that as a throw. But if you're South Carolina moving forward, you have a tough schedule coming up with USF and Dartmouth visiting your place for a tournament. Of course, South Florida always outstanding. They're in the American Athletic Conference. Dartmouth, an Ivy League champ type team every year. And then you start your conference schedule in Conference USA at Charlotte. So if you're Mark Burson and his experience, what do you do here with this side?
Well, you gotta find some goals here. We saw they put 5 in, I think, past High Point, but they've struggled against the better opposition they faced. And for me, it's got to start at home next weekend. You said you got a tournament, so you got a chance to play at home, and you got some decent opposition coming in USF and Dartmouth. But I think they'll look at that home games. They'll have a chance to get results out of them. So I think they need them to get confidence going forward.
It's a weird conference, that Conference USA.
It's kind of just like, it's kind of an assembly of different schools of misfits that
in how many sports could you say that Tulsa and Kentucky are in the same conference?
Right, and New Mexico's got a great program. Charlotte's always really good.
New Mexico was a team that was unbeaten heading into the NCAA tournament last year. Corbeau's Bender. Duzan can't get there. It's deflected, and it's off the line by Amabula. Saw nearly with his first career goal.
Nice save.
Oh, Duzan didn't fare much better than Velez. Spills that one, and Sa turns on it. Didn't catch all of it, but credit to Arambula, gets back and saves his team a goal.
Corner for Rutgers with 6 minutes to go as Sa almost put the S on Rutger, his middle name, with his first career goal. But today it has been Corbeau's, Eze, and Tainter. Corbeau's near post. Sa just had it right on the goal line. He was being held, but they'll say Sa was also backing his defender in. I'll reiterate, because we have not seen amazing officiating this year. I feel like Matt Mercier has done an excellent job today. Rutgers a 14-11 shot advantage, 7-4 on goal, 4 saves for both keepers. Only 15 combined fouls in the game, make it 16.
Yeah, it hasn't been a rough game. The challenges haven't, been flying in. Not a difficult game to officiate.
5 minutes to go. And now goal number 1 becomes holding David Greshik's clean sheet, and really the area that has been the most dangerous for him the last 5 minutes. He'll go get this. It's around this time, last week today, that Akron tied the game at 1 after Rutgers led into the 85th via Kanea's goal about a half hour prior. Latest Greshik has conceded a clean sheet this year, though. I don't know it's going to be topped. 13 seconds to go down at Duke. Saw for Webb. Webb back for Eric Saw. His left-footed shot is cleared away by Chapman.
Yeah, Saw going for goal there. Didn't catch it clean on his left foot. Took it first time. That was the right idea. Didn't get a good connection.
Stop the clock. 26, Andrew Weber. He replaces number 20, Todd Webb.
Well, Dan Donegan said that they could go as deep as Andrew Weber in the bench here, and they will do just that. The freshman from Andover. We've seen him multiple times this year when Rutgers wants a little offensive plug. Today it's more just to get him time. That goes off Corbeau's. 4 minutes left. But for Dan Donegan's side, 3 goals in it today. One in the first half quite early that I think took a lot of the steam out of South Carolina here following their result Friday night at St. John's. They were immediately on the back foot, and it allowed Rutgers, after absorbing what you called the counterpunch from South Carolina at the start of the second, that they eventually got the best of this.
Dimitri.
Saw got taken out by a frustrated Hunter Wire. Kyle Corbeau's another multiple point day with a goal and an assist. Saw was taken down, and it's a great line that I just heard from our field mic from the official. Guys, stop with the fouls. Just too many.
That's enough. That's too many.
It's a 3-0 game is what he really wanted to say.
3 minutes to go. Knock it off.
Exactly. Andrew Weber. The cross toward Kemmerer. It's away by Troyer. Haven't had a chance to introduce you to Kieran Kemmerer. Redshirted as a freshman, was a 4-year starter at Montgomery. Played for PDA Ronaldo, the 09 State Cup champs. That'll be a goal kick. Some unnecessary applause. I'm not sure what that was for, but you always get your head up wondering what you missed. But O'Rourke will check in for Rutgers. Vasiliadis takes a seat on the bench. O'Rourke, the redshirt sophomore from Lawrence High School, with 2:30 to go. Complete day, though. I think Rutgers was able to use a lot of options. And they were 3-0 better today.
Good afternoon at the park, right? Came out, got an early goal in front, and weathered that little bit of pressure from South Carolina to start the second half, and did what we've been asking them to do all year. Instead of sitting back, went forward and got two more goals, and made this a pretty easy afternoon.
Spracklin backtracking, and with Joe Setchell playing minimal minutes today.
It's nice, too, to get him a rest.
Oh, yeah. Spracklin did a great job filling in at right back so that Morgan, returning from yellow card suspension, a red card suspension, I should say, hasn't received a yellow card suspension yet, could fill in the middle with Tainter.
Sorry, Dan, it's nice to have a guy like Bobby Spracklin, too, that can come in and play 90 minutes at right back, because it gives you that flexibility to move Mitchell Tainter into the center and give Joe Setchell a day off.
Setchell wearing the blue bib there. He's done for the day. He'll play deep reserve. Get the sense that he understands how important it is after last year's frustration with the injury to use as much rest as he possibly can.
Yeah, and I'm sure he wants to be in the lineup, but if there was a game you were going to rest him for, it would be this one with the noon game after the Friday night.
Great article in the Targum this week featuring his rehab. But it has been a complete showing from the Scarlet Knights. They have outshot the Gamecocks 15-11 and 7-4 on goal. There's the star of the day, Mael Corboz. Got us started in the 13th minute with a goal, had an assist as well on a corner kick. Corboz in the 13th, Kane Eze off a through ball in the 61st. That'll be dropped on by Greshik. Corboz actually with 2 assists today. Goal and 2 assists. If you remember, he had the through ball to Eze as well. So Corboz up to 5 goals, 2 assists. Kane Eze on 4 goals and 2 assists.
Yeah, and a great weekend for Rutgers. Coming in here after a tough loss to Akron.
Clean sheet.
And a clean sheet for David Greshik with the ball. He's got that first one, but a great weekend for Rutgers to come in with a pair of victories. Should have a lot of confidence moving forward as they get ready to open American play.
David Greshik has allowed 0 goals in a game, and Rutgers 3, South Carolina 0. The goals come from Corboz, Eze, and Tainter. That's your final score. RU and Princeton in women's soccer coming up at 2:30. And Rutgers will take on SMU on the men's side Friday night. We'll send you out. Stay tuned. Reload ScarletKnights.com. Come back with us on RVision for Game 2 today. Great result for the Scarlet Knights, 3-0 over South Carolina on RVision.